I'm Richard Isaac, and it's my pleasure to kick off today's event as we celebrate the achievements and accomplishments of the extraordinary individuals who have gone above and beyond in the fight for environmental concerns throughout our state. Normally, we hold our celebration in person, enjoying good food and music as we catch up with old friends and make new ones. Because of the COVID-19 pandemic, however, all in-person Sierra Club gatherings have been suspended at this time. Nonetheless, we did not want to miss the opportunity to acknowledge the accomplishments that were made in 2020 by the individuals who we would like to recognize during our celebration today. So let me be the first to say thank you and congratulations to the 2020 Appreciation Day Award recipients. I know everyone is excited to find out who they are. But before we make the announcements, I would like to introduce our keynote speaker, Congressman Tom Malinowski. Tom currently serves on the House Committee on Transportation and Infrastructure, including its subcommittees on highways and transit, on railroads, pipelines and hazardous materials, and on water resources and environment. Because of his commitment to addressing environmental issues, the Sierra Club endorsed Tom in his 2018 campaign and again in his first run for re-election in 2020. It is now my distinct privilege to introduce the keynote speaker for the Sierra Club Appreciation Day Award celebration, Congressman Tom Malinowski.
Thank you to the Sierra Club New Jersey chapter for inviting me to speak at this year's Appreciation Award celebration. It was an honor to receive this award last year, and I'm grateful to be presenting the recognition today. I wanted to take this time to say thank you to the Sierra Club for not letting Congress off the hook on climate change and for your continued advocacy with our local officials. My constituents are passionate about conservation in our state, about protecting America's natural heritage and natural resources, and about making our country a leader in moving the world to clean energy. On all these issues, you are their voice in Washington, and I try to be as well. You've been vocal in opposing the PennEast pipeline, a project that would hurt a big share of the people I represent in Hunterdon County. And I've been fighting that fight in D.C., putting pressure on FERC, moving legislation to protect landowners with growing success. You've advocated for resilient water infrastructure, which is a top priority for folks living along the Rahway River in Union County, and I've been working hard on that in Washington as well, making sure that the Army Corps stays on the job. One of our biggest shared achievements in my first term was passing the Protect and Restore America's Estuaries Act, which we moved through both houses of Congress and actually got President Trump to sign on the day he was impeached. So who says you can't walk, chew gum, and protect the Constitution at the same time? Thanks to that bill, the federal government will provide grants to 28 states, including New Jersey, to improve the water quality and ecological integrity of our nation's most significant estuaries, including parts of the Raritan, Rahway, Elizabeth, and Hackensack rivers in our state. With the new president of the White House, I am confident we'll be able to do much, much more. We're back in the Paris Agreement. We are working on, and we will pass, an infrastructure bill that prioritizes mass transit. We're modernizing our electrical grid and speeding our transition to a transportation system powered by clean energy. So congratulations to all the honorees being recognized today. Thank you for all the work you've done, for all the work you will do in the years ahead. I'm excited by the possibilities before us, and I'm certain that we will realize them together. Thank you so very much.
For more than 22 years, Jeff Tittle has led our New Jersey chapter's state legislative and outreach efforts, both in Trenton and around the state. His most recent policy accomplishments include helping pass the Clean Car Act, the New Jersey Highlands Act, the Global Warming Response Act, and an unprecedented 300-foot buffer for Category 1 streams. In addition to these accomplishments, Jeff has been instrumental in fighting to help keep our oceans and rivers free from pollutants, prevent fossil fuel pipeline projects, promote the use of electric vehicles, advocate for electric school buses, promote wind and solar energy alternatives, and urge communities to ban single-use plastic bags. At this time, it is my great honor and privilege to introduce to you the Senior Director of the Sierra Club New Jersey chapter, Jeff Tittle.
So I want to thank Rich for those kind words, and just want to talk a little bit about the Sierra Club. You know, the Sierra Club is not only the nation's oldest and largest environmental group, but is a group that started out with the novel idea that parks and open space belong to the people, that they're held in trust by government for our use. And over the last 125 years, the Sierra Club has grown and grown, but it's also taken on a lot of other issues, not only clean water and Superfund and climate change, but environmental justice and equity are become a major part of the club. And as we move forward, that the Sierra Club itself is different than any other group because, one, we endorse candidates. Two, we lobby in Trenton and other places in Washington and around the country. Three, we have a very active grassroots and membership component. You know, unlike other groups, our board is not made up of people who write checks or come from fancy businesses or whatever. They're activists within the club who work on local issues or state issues, or whether it's transportation or trying to protect the stream corridor or saving open space or cleaning up a toxic site, or working on so many broad issues that in a way it's a pleasure when you work for the Sierra Club, because every week there's 40 or 50 issues you could get involved with. And so it's a great place because it's our members who help set the policy. Even though we're a national group, we're also a state and local group. And so it's the melding of the different pieces of the club that makes us truly an effective force when it comes to fighting for the environment. We work in certain ways where we really are the leaders when it comes to key issues in the state. It was the Sierra Club that really led the fight to pass the Highlands Act, to help pass the Clean Car Law, the Global Warming Response Act, even the plastic bag ban bill, the fertilizer bill. And we work together because, one, when I lobby in Trenton, one of the reasons that they listen to me is not just because it's me, it's because I have the backing of the largest organization in the country when it comes to the environment, with hundreds and hundreds of volunteers, many of them they know who live in their own districts. And so when I speak to a legislator and lobby, it's because I have the backing of our membership and our members and our activists. No other group has so many active members who get involved in so many different issues and do so many important things. And that's what makes Sierra Club unique. And the fact that we endorse, we lobby, we also are active at the local level and national level and state level, it makes us very unique. Also, the Sierra Club is very different because we don't take government money. John Muir said that you can't bite the hand that feeds you. That the Sierra Club, we work for our members, and our members are part of everything that we do, and our volunteers, and that's what makes Sierra Club unique. That we are willing to lead, and sometimes lead when it's tough, when other groups may not even support us, because we know it's right. Many times people want to compromise and give up their goals for expedience or for funding or for other reasons. And the Sierra Club instead, because we're there as an activist group to push the agenda forward, that's what we do. And sometimes we may step out in front of other groups, sometimes we may not want to compromise, but if you look at in the history of New Jersey, many groups wanted to compromise on Sterling Forest and allow a city of 20,000 people to be built above the Wanacue Reservoir instead of a city of 35,000. Sierra Club said no. We were able to save the entire forest. When it came to pushing for the Highlands Act, other groups said no, it'll interfere with buying land up there. We said no, we have to have strict regulatory land use controls in order to protect it. Buying land is not enough. And we were able to get the law passed. Same thing when it came to the Global Warming Response Act. Some groups at that time didn't think that something like that could get passed, and we worked to get it passed. And so many times when it comes to moving New Jersey forward, the relationship that the Sierra Club has with elected officials, we work with them sometimes when they're council people or mayors and they become legislators and congressmen. So we develop a long history and track record with them. Because we work on so many different issues and in so many different places, we're called upon by many elected officials, as a source for information and as a source for actually help when they have an issue that they want to work on, whether it's protecting Sandy Hook from privatization or Liberty State Park, to cleaning up a toxic site or passing key legislation. And that's why the Sierra Club is, I think, not only one of the most important groups in the country, but is really a leader when it comes to all areas of the environment. And the club is looking forward to moving forward in more areas and to do more work, but I think it's critical when you think about all the Sierra Club has accomplished and all the work that's been done by so many people that makes it sort of one family. When you drive around New Jersey and you see a Green Acres sign or a park or a toxic site being cleaned up, Sierra Club members were involved. When you think about the accomplishments of passing the Pinelands Act, you think of the Highlands Act and preserving all those wild areas of New Jersey, Sierra Club is involved in fighting to stop ocean dumping and cleaning up toxic sites. Sierra Club is involved. So whatever you do in the state where you're touched by the environment, the Sierra Club is involved. And that's the key part of being part of the club when it comes to battling environmental racism and for environmental justice, to make sure that green jobs and renewable energy go into our cities and urban areas, or cleaning up and protecting our parks from privatization. The Sierra Club is there. And so it's critical because we are all part of this together. And the Sierra Club touches everyone in the state when it comes to the environment in some way. And so that's why it's important to support and be part of the Sierra Club and be part of the Sierra Club family. And I just want to now turn it over to Taylor McFarland to continue to talk about with some of our accomplishments.
The year 2020 was a strange year to say the least. The year was highlighted by a worldwide pandemic that basically shut the state down in March. We had a hard-fought national election, and it was bookended by 2 unprecedented presidential impeachment trials. As a result of the pandemic, Zoom meetings replaced in-person Sierra Club meetings, and field trips were canceled. Governmental hearings were held remotely, making it harder to get our voices heard. Phone calls, postcards, and letter-writing campaigns replaced door-to-door canvassing for our endorsed national and local candidates. Nevertheless, New Jersey Sierra Club scored major environmental victories last year and laid the groundwork for further gains in 2021. In regards to elections, all of our endorsed candidates, congressional candidates in New Jersey, won their races except for Amy Kennedy's campaign to replace Jeff Van Drew in Congress. Many New Jersey Sierra Club members were part of the National Sierra Club campaign to get Joe Biden the votes he needed in battleground states, and to elect 2 Democratic senators in Georgia that flipped the Senate. Gas pipelines were a major issue in 2020, and the Sierra Club scored a big victory when the New Jersey DEP denied key permits for the Northeast Supply Enhancement Project after a 4-year fight. This project involved construction of a 23-mile pipeline under Raritan Bay and New York Harbor. It would have threatened air quality and important marine habitats along its route. A year-long campaign before the New Jersey New Jersey Transit Board of Directors, organized by Sierra Club volunteer Tim Sevner, working with the Don't Gas the Meadowlands campaign, convinced New Jersey Transit to put plans for a fracked gas power plant aside while they explore a solar power-based microgrid alternative. While New Jersey Transit could still build a gas fire plant, their decision to stop and evaluate renewable energy alternatives is a major win for now. While solar panel would be the first for New Jersey Transit, SEPTA has announced plans for a solar farm for their trains and solar tunnels that are going to be used in Europe to power intercity trains. A 5-year battle to deny permits for a hazardous waste recycling facility proposed by Elcon Services across the Delaware River from Bordentown concluded in July when the company withdrew all of its applications. This facility would have processed around 200,000 tons of chemical and pharmaceutical waste, with hazardous byproducts crossing the Delaware to pollute the air and water in Bordentown and neighboring communities. Club volunteer Kip Cherry was a leader in this fight. 2020 also saw the long sought-after signing into law of a statewide plastic bag ban. This law is the most comprehensive plastic bill in the nation. Our director, Jeff Tittle, Sierra Club staff and volunteers spearheaded this effort. Transportation is a key component in the fight to reverse climate change. The club's Transportation Committee released 2 reports at the February 2020 New Jersey Transit Board meeting, making major recommendations to improve public transit in the state. One report recommended a network of frequent service bus corridors, and the other identified major problems with New Jersey Transit's mobile and computer public information apps. The reports were written by interns Matthew Bewley and Jordan Rosenblum. Under the direction of Committee Chairman Bill Barron, the club continues to work with New Jersey Transit to implement our recommendations. Land use issues were another major focus of our club's efforts in 2020. A 20-year battle to defeat the Bellemeade sewer plant in Tewksbury ended in a victory in November when the DEP denied a permit renewal application. This plant would have severely degraded the Rockaway Creek, a C1 stream, and encouraged development in a mostly rural area. Environmental justice issues have become a major rallying cry for environmentalists in the past few years. Our state chapter has responded by rebuilding our Environmental Justice Committee. And we helped pass the landmark environmental legislation that Governor Murphy signed into law in late 2020. The bill seeks to stop the placement of polluting facilities and roads in our urbanized PJ communities.
Hi, my name is Renee Pollard. I am the chair for the Environmental Social Justice Committee. The committee did have the opportunity to work on a few issues in spite of COVID earlier in the year. We created an affordable housing resolution. This resolution will act as a guide for municipalities in the state when it comes to them meeting their affordable housing obligations. We also advocated for Newark water line replacements. That project is on track to completion the summer of this year. The committee, along with our community partners, Center for Environmental Transformation, we're working to resolve fine particle pollution and explosions coming from a recycling facility, EMR, located in the waterfront south section of Camden City. The committee, along with other community leaders, advocated and lobbied to get S232 Overburdened Communities Cumulative Impacts Bill passed. It was a much needed win for environmental justice communities in the state. So the volunteers of the Environmental and Social Justice Committee will continue to do its work in improving the lives of environmental justice communities across the state. Thank you.
We would like to thank Environmental and Social Justice Committee Chair Renee Pollard for her efforts. We also thank our staff, Director Jeff Tittle, Communications Coordinator Megan Steele, and all of our volunteer members who worked on these and many other environmental battles, as we set our sights high for making New Jersey a leader in environmental rights and climate change policy in the coming year.
Senator Singleton is someone that we work with very closely in the legislature. He's really been someone who has turned himself into one of our leaders and champion on key issues. We've known him for a long time, and we've watched him come up from an assembly person up to becoming a senator. And he not only works for the people of New Jersey, but especially the people in his district when it comes to getting money for parks, for cleaning up toxic sites. He worked with us in his local groups in fighting the Elcon solid waste incinerator that was going to be proposed right across the river from Trenton to basically take fracking waste and vaporize it so they could turn it into a sludge and dispose of it. The problem is that it's a project that was in a floodplain that would bring toxic fracking waste into the area. The process of evaporation would actually put a toxic cloud coming out of that plant heading right to New Jersey. Plus, if there's a spill or accident, it would affect our waterway and the water supply for people in central Jersey, since it sits above a major water supply intake in Delran. And that's just one of the many things he's done, because as a state legislator and as a senator, he also championed the environmental justice legislation that got signed into the law this year. He was the prime sponsor in the Senate, and he worked with us and the environmental justice organizations and other environmental groups to craft one of the strongest pieces of legislation when it comes to dealing with overburdened communities and environmental justice in the country. That this bill would require, before new permits are given, in overburdened or environmental justice communities, that they'd have to do a comprehensive analysis to make sure that whatever is being proposed will not further degrade the environment or hurt the communities that are there. And so he's been someone who's, not only fighting for the environment, but he's fighting to make our society more equitable when it comes to the environment. He also has another piece of legislation we hope to get passed this session. It's already passed one house. It's the Solar Equity Act that set an office in BPU to make sure that when money goes out, whether it's for energy efficiency or solar, that those people in overburdened communities get the benefits, not only of the clean energy, but also of the jobs. It's job training and workforce development as part of it. But more importantly, if we can build more solar in overburdened communities, we can close some of those dirty power plants. If we can do more work in energy efficiency, people will not only save money on their energy bills, but will create good jobs in those communities as well. And that's why it's a critical piece of legislation to move New Jersey forward when it comes to green jobs and reducing air pollution and greenhouse gases. And we expect a lot more coming from the senator. He's really become one of the leaders when it comes to the environment. And so this award that we're giving him for his achievements so far, we believe are just a down payment on many more and even better achievements going forward.
This is Senator Joyce Singleton. Let me begin by thanking my friends from the Sierra Club for this awesome acknowledgement. It is deeply humbling to know that an organization that has prided itself on making sure that our environment is protected, making sure that each of us have an opportunity to share in the bounty that our earth has deemed me worthy for an acknowledgement for the work that we've done to promote environmental justice and solar equity in our state. I can't tell you how much it means to me to have an organization that has done so much to advance the cause of environmental justice, to recognize the work that we've done as something that is worthy of applause. So I want to thank the Sierra Club, all of its members, its leadership, for this very humbling award. I commit to you that we'll continue to fight the good fight on these issues, and I look forward to standing shoulder to shoulder with my friends from the Sierra Club as we do. Thank you again. God bless you. Thank you.
I also want to thank, for all his hard work, Assemblyman Raj McCary, who's become a real leader in the Assembly, taking on many important issues, but especially when it comes to Hudson County and the Meadowlands. One of the most important battles that Raj has taken on is the protection of Liberty State Park to stop it from privatization. He is the prime sponsor of the Liberty State Park Protection Act in the Assembly, and the purpose of the act is to make sure that the park that's named after the Statue of Liberty, that is a gateway to this country, belongs to all of us and is used by all of us, that it doesn't become part of it a billionaire's golf course for millionaires, taking away a natural area in Cavens Point that's enjoyed by so many people for bird watching or fishing or school children getting educated on the environment. And Liberty State Park is not only one of the gems of New Jersey, it's one of the most visited state parks in the country, and it belongs to all of us. And his battle to save it from privatization and to make sure that we can use it for future generations is one of the major reasons why we're giving him the award. But it's also because of all the work that he's done, not only in the legislature, as a key vote on so many of our issues and moving the environment forward when it comes to clean air, clean water, open space, or cleaning up toxic sites. It's also the work that he's done in Hudson County and making sure that we're cleaning up toxic sites. But also, he was one of the key allies in fighting and stopping the New Jersey Transit power plant in Kearney that would have put a plume of polluted air right into the middle of Jersey City. And he was one of the legislators who stood up to not only the Murphy administration, but to New Jersey Transit. He's one of the people who stood up and backed the local residents and environmentalists to help get towns and cities in the area to come out against it. But more importantly, to work at an alternative. That instead of having this power plant that's in the middle of an environmental justice community spewing out more pollution, that the microgrid for New Jersey Transit instead could be powered with solar energy and battery backup with maybe a fuel cell. And his support and help has gotten New Jersey Transit not only to stop the power plant, but to look at this green alternative that will promote green jobs while reducing pollution. And Raj, again, is one of the young leaders in the legislature, and we believe that he can go on to do even more especially when it comes to protecting Liberty State Park. But he will become an environmental champion and leader. He's already one of our heroes, and I think he's going to keep getting better and better and doing more for the people of Hudson County, but also for New Jersey, to make sure that we create green jobs, that we have open spaces, and that we do more to protect our environment.
Thank you, Jeff, and thank you for all that you do. I am so humbled to receive this award from the Sierra Club for my activism and legislative accomplishments on climate change, fighting for a greener New Jersey, and to protect Liberty State Park. I stand way, way, way back in the long shadow of giant champions of our planet like the Sierra Club in the work we all do together. The climate crisis is a desperate global emergency we were facing long before this pandemic that we didn't take seriously, and we're still not taking seriously enough, which is why I am so humbled and appreciative of this recognition. The first bill Phil Murphy signed into law when he became governor reinstated critical women's health and Planned Parenthood funding. But the second bill he signed into law was my bill, which led to our state joining the Paris Climate Accord, the Climate Alliance, and participating and committing since the United States had left the agreement under the Trump administration. Well, there's been a change in Washington, and now we're back. But that disgraceful act and decision by the former president put our country and our planet in grave danger. And it shows the importance of states like New Jersey, state legislatures being the laboratories of democracy, stepping in and filling the void and mitigating the damage. Let's talk about the Liberty State Park Protection Act. Why is that fight important? Liberty Park is a rare urban open space jewel, a national treasure, and the keeper of this country's diverse, rich history, with markers that have guided generations of citizens and attracted people from all over the world. One of only 2 places in the world from which you can access Ellis Island. State parks, just like national parks, belong to the people. So when there are privatization or redevelopment efforts that would commercialize a free open park in a democracy, state parks represent the fact that the state and our country belong to the people. You encroach on a state park, you take it away from the people. And if we allow that, that means we're allowing them to take the state away from the people, and that is the beginning of the end of democracy. Teddy Roosevelt counseled us, the nation behaves well if it treats its natural resources as assets, which must be turned over to the next generation, increased, not impaired, in value. I also appreciate all of your tireless advocacy, and I was proud to join you in the successful campaign. And I want to thank Governor Murphy and New Jersey Transit for making the right call here to abandon that misguided proposal on the power plant, burden Hudson County with additional fossil fuel infrastructure, and to instead move forward by setting a new goal to develop clean energy alternatives to power our future. We're facing many different challenges today in New Jersey and throughout the world, and this pandemic too shall pass. We'll get through it together, but when we find our new normal in the aftermath, let's be clear, this isn't going away, and there is no challenge that will be more important to the overall well-being of our families and our communities than the well-being of our environment. Thank you for being good stewards of it.
One of the highest honors that we ever give someone in the Sierra Club is a Lifetime Achievement Award, and no one deserves it more than Senator Loretta Weinberg. She has been a champion of the environment her entire career in politics, but more than that, she's been a fighter for the environment and a leader, and is willing to stand up to her own party or her own leadership in the Senate or Assembly to support the environment. She has been someone who has championed protection of the highlands and clean water. She's been a champion to stand up to polluters, and even helped us in our battles against the big power plant that was being proposed in the Meadowlands. But more importantly, she's also been someone who holds government accountable. She has been the legislator more responsible for passing open government legislation to bring the disinfectant light of the public into government. She's also been a champion for the commuters of New Jersey, standing up to New Jersey Transit, fighting for them to get better, and working on legislation to actually give the riders and commuters on New Jersey Transit trains and buses rights, as well as she's worked for funding and for New Jersey Transit. And that's critical for the environment as well. Getting people out of cars and electrifying our transportation network is an important part of fighting climate change and dealing with air pollution. And Loretta Weinberg, I know, will continue to fight for what's right, but we want to recognize her because we think that of all the legislators, there really is no one better than her, who has accomplished more and has stood and fought for the environment more than Senator Loretta Weinberg.
Thank you, Jeff, and to the Sierra Club for this great award. You know, a Lifetime Achievement Award is a very special and treasured addition to acknowledgement about my public career. My political career actually began, or I would say my first foray into politics and government, was when I went to a Teaneck Council meeting because there were not enough trees on Cedar Lane. That has to be more than 40 years ago. And I will tell you, it wasn't a great success. They're still trying to find the right kind of trees that will survive on Cedar Lane. But it was my beginning. And then I learned about the Sierra Club. I learned about your advocacy, about how you were there before things like global warming became fashionable. The Sierra Club was there long before. You have been the most outstanding, consistent, disciplined advocates on the issues that are so important. It's the overriding issue. It is the air we breathe. It is the water we drink. It is how my generation, my children's generation, and more important, my grandchildren's generation. It's to how they will survive and how we keep our world safe for all of you young people who are out there and beyond. You know, we have won a few fights along the way, whether it is killing the Meadowlands power plant, the closing of the Keegan landfill, or the many, many open space laws that we've passed in the legislature and that this governor and others have signed. But most fights are ongoing, whether we're talking about oil trains that go through the heart of my district, the district that I represent, go through passing our middle school, our volunteer ambulance corps, various houses of worship. There is so much more for the Sierra Club to do. So I want to say thank you for allowing me to go on this journey with all of you. Thank you for your advocacy, and most important, thank you for the advocacy that you are going to continue beyond my public service career and beyond my lifetime for our collective future. Thank you for this very treasured award. Being named an environmental hero is something that will always be very close to me, that I really and truly appreciate. So to Jeff, to all of you in the Sierra Club, a great big thank you and a great big message. You've got a lot more to do, so keep at it. Thanks.
Congressman Frank Pallone has been with the Sierra Club on every important environmental issue, whether when he was a state legislator or being in Congress. And we want to recognize him not only for his outstanding work all these years in battling against offshore drilling and stopping ocean dumping and fighting in Congress for clean air, clean water, and standing up to the polluters when it comes to toxic sites, especially PFAS. He's also been a champion in his district in cleaning up Superfund sites and his push every year to restore the Superfund tax so to hold polluters accountable and make them pay for their mess. But we're giving him our highest award this year because with the Democratic control of Congress and the Democratic president, we expect great things out of Frank Pallone in championing legislation to move the Biden agenda forward on climate change, on green energy, on standing up to polluters and rolling back and getting rid of Trump's rollbacks to the environment. Frank Pallone, as chair of the Environment and Commerce Committee, is one of the key leaders in Congress to be able to pass not only our agenda from Sierra Club and all the environmentalists, but the people's agenda when it comes to the environment. And as chair of that committee, he can do more than anyone else in ensuring that the key legislative pieces that we need to move this country forward on green jobs, on climate change, on clean water and clean air can get done. And that's why we're recognizing him. We've endorsed Congressman Pallone in every election he's ever run for the state legislature or for Congress because he's a champion who stands with us and has always stood with us. And we've worked with him side by side on so many key issues, from protecting Sandy Hook from privatization to cleaning up Burnt Fly Box Superfund site. He is there for us, he's there for the people, and we're here to recognize him and give him the award because there is no one better in Congress when it comes to fighting for New Jersey and the nation when it comes to the environment.
Hi, this is Congressman Frank Pallone. I want to thank the New Jersey Sierra Club for this award. I've been working on environmental issues from when I was first elected to the state senate, and it's easy for me to deal with environmental concerns because I really care a lot about it personally, and it actually goes back to my college days when we started, or when we had the first Earth Day celebration in April of 1970. But I just wanted to thank the Sierra Club for all that you do. We've worked together on so many things, whether it's preventing offshore drilling and cleaning up the ocean, or it's preserving our parks. I know that you mentioned for this award my work at Sandy Hook and trying to prevent development at Sandy Hook. But it's also other clean water and clean air issues that we've worked on for a long time. Right now, obviously, a big issue is PFAS and trying to clean up PFAS, and that's something that our committee, the Energy and Commerce Committee, is working on a lot. And of course now climate change. Climate change there has to be action taken in a significant way to stop continued buildup of greenhouse gases. And we've introduced the Clean Future Act, which you helped me with, that came out of my committee to try to address climate change through every sector of the economy and working with other countries on the global environment. So, whether it's local, whether it's personal actions that can be taken, or it's national or global actions, the Sierra Club has always been there. And I want to thank you again for this award. This is Frank Pallone.
Now it's time to announce our Volunteer of the Year award. And this year, it's to someone who's very, very deserving of it. They always are, but this individual particularly stands out in my mind as someone who's really contributed a whole bunch. Since 2012, taking over as the acting conservation chair of the Skylands Group, Greg Gorman has done a super job and, of course, is now our chair of that Skylands Group. But in addition, he's also our conservation chair for our entire chapter, starting off in the middle of 2014. Greg's extremely knowledgeable on a whole range of issues, in particular open space issues, such as Sparta Mountain, and on energy issues, such as the Clean Master Plan for the state of New Jersey, and other kinds of energy issues as well. Greg is invaluable, very much glad we have him on board, and without further ado, let me offer the award to Greg. Thank you.
Thank you for presentation of this award. I don't consider this as an individual award, but a team award on behalf of the Conservation Committee. I'm just one piece in a connection of everybody that works for one purpose, and that is to protect the environment. I remember Rich Isaac telling me years ago that Sierra Club is a club and we have fun. And I have been having fun. So I can truthfully say this is one award I didn't work for. I remember the efforts of Christine Gohl and Kate Millsaps and a Greenpeace coordinator, Miriam Fallon, when we closed down the Genon plant. And they've been inspiration to me as well as the young people that serve us today, as well as some of us older folks. Again, thank you.
Hello, my name is Sunrit Panda, and the Sierra Club gives me the resources I need to support climate change activism at my high school. This fall we had the privilege of hosting Mr. Gregory Gorman, Conservation Chair for the New Jersey Sierra Club, at our TEDx Edison High School Countdown Climate Change Conference. Without his support, the event would not have been as enriching and educational as it was. So thank you, New Jersey Sierra Club.
I had the opportunity to talk to Mr. Greg Gorman, the Conservation Chair of the Sierra Club, this October about the Green New Deal and how building infrastructure in a more clean, sustainable way will actually benefit the economy, whereas some would have us believe that it would hurt the economy. And I really enjoyed that talk, and I learned a lot from him, and that is why I appreciate the Sierra Club.
I was first introduced to the Sierra Club through Mr. Gregory Gorman, the Conservation Chair of the New Jersey chapter of the Sierra Club. A couple of months ago, he gave a speech at our school about combating climate change on both an individual and legislative level. I learned a lot from this speech, and he gave advice that both adults and teenagers like us could use to make a difference. I believe that the mission of the Sierra Club is so important for me and many others. The Sierra Club gives me hope that one day the climate crisis may be solved.
I joined the Sierra Club because I have an interest in water quality and data collection, and their team at Water Sentinels was able to foster my interest, but also show me how they could apply the real-world problems locally and on a global scale.
I joined the Sierra Club in September. I was feeling really anxious about the upcoming election, and I decided to do something about it. So after I got involved, I got to meet so many people who are so knowledgeable about all kinds of environmental issues in our state. A lot of volunteers from all over the state and chapter staff. And I also got to meet volunteers from other chapters all over the country on virtual webinars and trainings. And I've just learned so much and hope I can stay as involved as possible moving forward. And hopefully someday we'll be able to meet some of the people that I've gotten to know virtually this past year.
And the club has just begun the fight to oppose the LNG export facility proposed for Gibbstown in Gloucester County, where liquefied natural gas will be brought into a transfer station by trucks and trains. A coming battle in the next few years will be to rein in the Turnpike's $24 billion 20-year capital plan, which includes substantial widening projects for the southern end of the Turnpike and Garden State Parkway through Essex and Bergen counties. The continued attempts to build new warehouses in rural areas remains an area of concern, as the club continues to fight proposals to build these facilities on active farmland far from population centers. And the club will continue to fight efforts to expand logging on public lands and controlled fires in the Pinelands. These proposals will clearly undercut the governor's climate change policies. Enhancing our forests and protecting their canopies will help sequester 20% more carbon, while logging will release more carbon and reduce wildlife habitat and passive recreation opportunities. New Jersey Sierra Club is still contesting other fracked gas pipeline projects, including the Roseland and Tennessee Gas Compressor Stations, the Southern Reliability Link Pipeline going through the Pinelands, and the Penn East Pipeline.